The first thing we'll be talking about in math this second quarter is thinking strategies for addition and subtraction to get the students to be able to fluently add and subtract within 20 using mental strategies. By the end of second grade, actually by this point in second grade, our hope is that students are no longer counting on their fingers. So we have a couple different strategies that we want students to use. We're going to focus on addition first. We have the counting on, which we've been working on with students. This would be something like 6 plus 5. They know that 6 is a number they can put in their head, and then they would count on 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're using a number line to show this. But we are hoping that students will do this mentally and be able to mentally figure this out in their head, that 6 and 5 more would give you a sum of 11. The property of 0 is for students to understand that when they add 0 to a number, the sum is that number. So if you have 9 and you add 0 to it, you will get 9 as your sum. The commutative property, sometimes students think of this as the flip-flop, but in second grade we're giving them the correct terminology and names for these strategies. So knowing that if you change the order of 2 addends, the sum will stay the same. 5 plus 4 is the same as 4 plus 5. So if you know the sum of 5 plus 4, you also know the sum of 4 plus 5. And that's the commutative property. And it works in addition, and as the students get older, they will find out that it also works with multiplication. 1 more and 2 more. When you add 1 or 2 to a number, it's like counting. Number lines will help also with this strategy. So if you have 6 and 1 more would be 7. Just knowing the number that comes after that number. If you would start with, let me go ahead and erase this number line. I made it a little big. So if you would start with the number 11 and you want to know 2 more, it would be 12, 13. And they should be able to mentally calculate that in their head. Okay, now we're looking at a strategy with doubles. A doubles addition fact has 2 addends that are the same. So they need to think 7 and 7 is 14. 6 and 6 is 12. And they can also use this to think about things in the real world. In the situation that I just did with 6 and 6, it is 12. You can think of eggs and an egg carton. So this would be 6 plus 6. Another something that you could think about would be a spider. If you had a spider, there are 4 legs on this side, 4 legs on this side, which would give you a total of 8 legs. Those are just some of the ways that you can help students conceptually understand what doubles are by connecting it to the real world. The doubles plus 1 is an addend that is 1 more than the other addend. So if you know the doubles fact 6 plus 6 is 12, you would know that 6 plus 7 has a sum of 13 because the 7 is 1 more than the 6 of the doubles fact. Again, if you know 4 plus 4 is 8, then 4 plus 5 would be 1 more, which would be 9. Making 10 is a strategy that's a little bit difficult for some students, and these last two kind of tie together. When you're looking at making 10, if you had a number sentence such as 6 and you're adding 9 more, making 10 would be realizing that you could break this 6 apart into 5 and 1, and this 1 could be put with the 9 to make a 10. Then you can simply see that, oh, I have 10, and 5 more would be 15. Again, another example of this would be 6 plus 7. So if I know that 7 and 3 more would make 10, I could easily break this 6 apart to 3 and 3 more. Put the 7 and 3 together to make the 10. Add this 3 to it, and I would know that my sum is 13. The 10 strategy is simply knowing that the numbers that go together to make 10. A tool we use in school for this is called a 10 frame, and I'm sure you're familiar with this from last year. A 10 frame has 10 boxes, 5 on the top and 5 on the bottom. You can simply draw this on a piece of paper if it's something you want to practice with your child at home. But knowing the different combinations that you can put in this 10 frame in order to make 10. So if I wanted to fill in 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I would have to figure out that I need to put 6 more in there. 4 and 6 more would give you 10. I can also continue with this, and a good way to practice this with your student is by going ahead and putting some in, and then going ahead and asking how many empty spaces that you would have there and how many you would need to fill in to go ahead and make 10. And in this situation, we just showed the commutative property of 6 plus 4. If you know that 4 plus 6 is 10, you also know that 6 plus 4 is 10.